So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And if that means you're sitting at your desk and your feet are down, just make sure you're about a hip's width apart. And the reason we do that is so you can be nicely aligned. It's just easier if your legs are too far apart, your knees are going to fall in or out. So you just want to be, if your feet are too close together, the legs are just going to fall out. So just have the shoulders are aligned with the hips, and as best you can, your ears aligned with your shoulders, and imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. Just put some space in between those vertebrae. Without doing anything, you're not even stretching particularly, but even just imagining that you're lengthening your spine, you probably can feel the tightness just kind of unfurling a little bit. I don't know, even if you breathe, and as you breathe in and as you exhale, just imagine the spine is lengthening. And then just go to the crown of the head and notice if you can feel anything there, any sensation. Relax the scalp and the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, the back of the tongue, back of the head. Relax your ears, your inner ear. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down, and relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And then just bring your attention um, to your breath, to the nostrils, and notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. So depending on the shape of your nose, depending on how you've trained, if you've done any, Vipassana meditation or Anapana, single point of concentration, you might notice the sensation at the tip of the nose, the sides of the nostrils, or even at the base of the nose. And you feel it just kind of a sensation as you inhale and exhale. A little bit cooler air as you inhale, slightly warmer as you exhale. Just notice the sounds that are in your environment tonight. So, for some of you who are fairly regular and in your own, sort of fairly stable in your housing, you're probably hearing the same kinds of sounds every evening. And so then if something unusual enters your soundscape, you will be alerted to it. So just allow whatever sounds there are there to just be there. They're just being sounds. Of course, unless there's an emergency, but generally we are so happy to be distracted by almost anything that comes along, whether it's visual or auditory, olfactory, any kind of sensory. And then just be aware of what's arising in your mind this evening. And just notice what's there. Are you ruminating? Are you giving yourself a hard time? So try not to follow the thoughts or follow the story. Just allow it to arise. Just watch it. Put some space in between those thoughts, the words, the images. And just notice your breath. And then bring to mind all the people of our life, our loved ones. These some folks in our life are really, really precious. So just keep those ones close to your heart. You know, I know in Buddhism we're always told we have to love everyone equally, but the truth is we don't. And I think it's important for us to recognize people in our life that we have very strong, positive, virtuous, karmic relationships with and not take them for granted. So there's those folks, and there's people in our life we just wish weren't there. But, believe it or not, they're teaching us more than the ones we love because they're showing us our mind. And then there's our strangers who we don't really care about much. And just to imagine they can all change place at any time. They're all equal. They all have this wish, this super wish to be happy, this wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So think, there is no negativity that can't be purified. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can create positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of this future suffering that we might experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more, and logically it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has these methods that we can use to purify, and that looks like the medicine Buddha mantra. There you go. So we're not needing the, Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're looking for methods to heal ourselves. And I really like to hear that, Yangtze Rinpoche mentioned that when he came to San Francisco to Seichen Ling. He kind of talked about it in terms of healing. And I think in a way that's very empowering, in a way more, to me personally, more empowering than this idea of purification. Because with most of us here have these backgrounds in Christianity, and I think sometimes purification might have a connotation of, oh, I've done something wrong. But healing is a little bit of a different slant. It just kind of, I think, also helps us to take responsibility. It's easier, maybe a little bit more, to take responsibility if we're thinking about healing ourselves in this purification practice. So anyway, there's just a little bit of a different slant. So anyway, we've got this beautiful healing Buddha, imagine above the crown of your head. You can also imagine he's your teacher manifesting in this particular form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus, has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes, they're long, they're shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you, and we have compassion for them because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering sometime down the track for them. So make strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of all of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of your speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum te. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. This arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room, you flick on the switch. The light that comes instantly dispels the darkness, doesn't it? So the same here. The moment from the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, depression, anger, all of this instantly dispelled as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe am vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida me boa sutukaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Ambajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Aham Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa Tathagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And they're gone. And imagine there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness, forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. So here we're working an even more subtle energetic level. So imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, so, both, and then fills you completely and eradicates even those subtle imprints of negative energy. It's almost like, when you press your thumb or something into your hand, and then there's a slight indent, and then it kind of disappears. It's almost, I don't know if that's a good analogy, but it's just almost like it's very, very subtle, this kind of extra cleanse we're doing here. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum pe. So now feel completely healed, cleansed, purified, however you want to see it. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream, and even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now this is the fourth and final step of this process, and it's a really crucial one. And this is the determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind, or to at least think about refraining from doing that. So without this, we're going to just keep doing the same old stuff over and over again without making a decision. That's the really important step. Decide, oh, I am going to walk from here to the kitchen and I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. That is not going to happen unless you decide to do it. So it's just very simple. I don't want to harm. And then you go a little bit further, go a little bit deeper and think about what ways do I not want to harm? Like what ways might I be harming right now? Things that don't serve me necessarily or even others, like negative self-talk. And so make a determination to maybe work on something between now and tomorrow. One of the benefits of being sick was you realize how vulnerable you are when your body doesn't work. And so it also kind of brings to mind that we don't have a huge amount of time on this planet. So the more we can do to make that time here a little bit easier for ourselves and others, the better, I think. Anyway, imagine Vajrasattva's delighted to with us, who wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on emptiness. And in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. There is no negative karma created. So, at whatever level you've heard teachings about or understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a moment. You may not even know what that means. But basically what it means is that everything that we look at, everything we see, everything, all the phenomena, they're not kind of there all by themselves. There's, they're a bunch of causes and conditions. And just think also too, the way things appear to me might not be necessarily the way they exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just have our... Shayla, you're the host, or Bill? You do, okay. So chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You got him? Coming. Oh, look at that. You guys are so organized. Okay. I can read that. I don't know how everyone else is. Just go back to the... you need to scroll back down for page 16. That one. Yeah. Without a form, with handsome form, supreme, replete with forms diverse, comprised of mind, with splendor shining through his every form, with all reflections under his control, invincible, renowned as Lord Supreme, the Lord Supreme who rules the threefold world, abiding on the noble's lofty path, great source of flourishing, the Dharma's crown. With youthful form, unique unto all worlds, the elder senior, father of all beings, adorned with 32 auspicious marks, most beautiful, most handsome in all worlds. Thank you so much, you guys. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long and for his knee operation to be successful. And then for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then for the long life of all your own precious teachers. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Thank you so much for hosting. So nice to see you all, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.